Hey guys, Derek here. On this video, you're going to see a compilation of clips from a study session that I recorded with myself and ChatGPT. It's for WGU's class D080, Global Business. And so I recorded it while I was doing a study session with the pre-assessment before I took the final assessment. What you'll get from the video is not me memorizing definitions at all. It's just kind of working through my logical reasoning behind questions and how I kind of get to answers. So I hope this video segment is useful for your studying, and check it out. Let's go. All right, so first off, there are 5 moves that you need to keep in mind for the test. Move 1 is the math problem. Script here. Okay, so first family, trade and free agreements, NAFTA, USMCA, tariffs and quotas all fall in here. Here's the secret: these are not history questions; they are supply and demand questions. Do not ask what happened, model the flow. When 2 economies open up, ask what becomes additive and where the pressure moves.
So, all right, question 14. What was the economic impact of the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA? A, the overall loss of jobs and higher unemployment. B, the increase of low-skilled worker unemployment in the United States. C, the reduction of economic output as measured by gross domestic product, GDP. And D, the shift of jobs away from low comparative advantage industries. So the way I think about that is okay, you have this trade agreement. What was the overall impact? It's not really stating what the overall impact is, good or bad. It's just asking for some kind of impact. So overall job loss and
same move here on the quota question. A plus B equals C, where C is total supply and demand.
Question 16. Country A and B participate in trade agreements that allow free trade among participant countries. However, country A imposed quotas on several import products to protect its domestic products. What is the effect, if any, of the domestic prices of these products? A increases, B can't be determined, C decreases, or D stays the same. Okay, so country A imposed a quota on a country B. Like I said, to protect its domestic products. So to work through the kind of the math problem on that one.
And then the question related to USMCA looks like trivia, but you can reason through the scope. Trees, split it to what no tariff actually does.
Question 12. Two countries agree to open their borders to international business transactions with one another without tariffs. How does this affect global business? A, it provides subsidies and protects a critical industry. B, it leads to developing free trade policies with strategic partnerships. C, it creates a trade surplus for the national economy. And D, it imposes import restrictions on competing nations. Okay, so A, B, C, and D are a lot of different things. Okay, so just focusing in on two countries agreeing to open their borders for business transactions and with one another, and to do that without tariffs, so they're not applying a import tax. So both countries are working that. So what those two are being very, very freely cooperative between the two. Okay, outside of those other ones, we can assume the opposite.
All right. So the trick for the customs union question, which is move number 2, sneaking in. Parse the words customs equals borders, union equals.
All right, question 20. Which level of regional economic integration is a key feature of a customs union?
Protectionism gets its own beat because I found a metaphor that makes it stick. When I filmed this, I actually reasoned towards increasing competition, but here is the cleaner way to look at it, lock it in. And it's a textbook answer. You protect an infant industry.
All right. Question 18. What is a purpose of a country implementing trade protectionism? A, to increase competition. B, to protect an infant industry. C, to protect against import subsidies. And D, to increase dumping. Purpose of implementing trade protectionism. My thinking is dumping. Not sure what they're meaning there, but my thinking of like just dumping junk on people. Maybe not. Not sure. To protect against import subsidies. Subsidies naturally happen, regardless. It's essentially. Well, subsidies is typically a handout, so that might be a benefit. When you're implementing protectionism, you're trying to protect yourself. So, protect an infant industry, yes, but typically when you're
here in this segment, we're talking about global finance and institutions. Move number 3, follow the incentives. For questions, next, the money side. Next, the money side. IMF, World Bank, currencies, transfer pricing. One move unlocks all of them. Follow the incentive. Who holds the capital? And what are they optimizing for? The IMF special drawing right. Reason it from how value works.
Question 11. How is special drawing right of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, valued? A, it is based on all members' currencies. B, it is based on the US dollar. C, is based on the value of 5 most significant members' currencies. And D, is based on the value of gold. The IMF I can't remember, but there's a bank that not the Fed Reserve. There's another bank over the Fed Reserve that a lot of people don't talk about, and I'm getting this mixed up with that specific acronym. I'm not sure what it stands for, but it might be this. It seems like it's the same thing.
World Bank focus. Careful here. Recorded live, I leaned towards maximize profitability. Double checked this one because the World Bank mission is usually framed as reducing poverty and improving.
Question 9. What is the current focus of the World Bank? A, supporting structural development. B, maintaining equity between developing countries. C, improving quality of life. And D, maximizing profitability. There's a lot of ways that one can go. A World Bank is going to focus on a lot of different things. Obviously, like working and making sure everyone's operating and trading fairly. But if the World Bank is going to be financing other things, they're going to be wanting to make sure that whenever you're financing, that is a profitable ROI. So everything's going to lead to that eventually. So everything's going to be tracking profitability. So I think it's D. Improving quality of life is a tertiary or like a kind of a extraction effect.
Quality of life. Which currency situation maximizes profit? Pure incentive.
Moving on to question 24. A firm based in country A manufactures its products in country B. Includes manufacturing employees in the currency in which they are located. Which currency situation will result in the maximum profit for the firm? A. The value of the currency in both countries stays the same. B. The value of the currency in both countries decreases. C. The currency in country A is weak relative to the currency in country B. And D. The currency in country A is strong relative to the currency in country B. Okay. Which currency situation will result in the maximum profit for the firm? So looking through the answers, A and B to me are out because when you're looking at global trade, logic.
Transfer pricing. Trace who loses.
Question 62. A multinational company uses transfer pricing to reduce its tax burden on the subsidiaries' countries. Which effect does this action have on subsidiaries? A. Relax relaxed regulation, B, reduced compliance, C, lowered profit, and D, increased morale. Uses transfer pricing to reduce its tax burden in the subsidiaries countries. Okay, so this country is this company is focusing on itself. Which effect does this action have on subsidiaries? Well, if it's trying to lower its tax burden, the subsidiary companies are going to collect less in tax revenue. Okay, so an increased morale, probably not. I don't think morale is affected by this transfer pricing thing that's happening. Relaxed regulations, I don't think it's also affected. Reduced compliance, maybe speculative. I would say the most direct thing to answer would be
how banks and investors use financial statements. Clean, no tricks here.
Question 60. How do banks and investors use financial systems? This is a good question. Very, very simple, clean cut, no extra context. Let's look at A, B, C, and D. A, to assess the marketing health of a company. B, to create plans for growth and expansion. C, to decide whether to grant access to money. And D, to recommend strategic partnership. So how do banks and investors use financial statements? So financial statement would be a company's net earnings. So for their P&L, so their profit and loss statement. So I'll show you all.
Moving on to ethics and culture. We want to separate the action from the dilemma. Ethics questions trip everyone up because you focus on what was wrong. That isn't the question. They're testing what makes this hard. Separate the action from the dilemma. Okay. In the classic facilitation payment scenario, this one held viewers better than anything I filmed.
All right, question 32. An individual is encouraged to provide a small, quiet fee to local officials to get some critical work done overseas for a global office. The individual was told that this would greatly expedite the work. The individual took that advice and the work was completed, but the manager in the United States was upset with the action and called the individual to discuss the matter. What is the most challenging aspect of this individual's ethical dilemma?
Okay. Code of ethics versus the other three. Match the trigger word.
Question 33. A CEO of a multinational corporation tells employees that they are expected to follow organizational values, remember the mission, and adopt behaviors to be in alignment with the vision, mission, regardless of the situation. Which ethical standard is being stressed by this company? A, corporate social responsibility, B, code of ethics, C, transparency, and D, ethical resolutions. I think this company is, because they're using a vision, mission, kind of statement that's already articulated there, they've built themselves a code of ethics.
Cultural dimensions. Pure definition match. Do not overthink this.
Question 46. Which national cultural dimension refers to how agreeably a society accepts hierarchical differences between people in the global workplace? That is a mouthful of a simple one-line question. A, power distance. B, long-term orientation. C, masculinity. And D, uncertainty avoidance.
Reparations. Disorientation. Name the real cause.
Question 50. An employee for a global technology company was assigned to the overseas office in Asia. Once the assignment was completed, the employee experienced disorientation in repatriating to the head office in the United States. What caused this orientation? A, loss of pay and benefits. B, changes in work culture and customs. C, lack of consistency in work dynamics. And D, changes in time zone between countries. All right, again, let's parse out what's going on in this question. What caused this disorientation?
Okay. Moving on to section organizational structure and operations. Move 4, anchor to a real org. Okay. Structure questions get abstract fast. Matrix, divisional, polycentric. My move, anchor it to a real organization I actually lived in. For me, this is the Navy ships. Okay. In these clips, you'll watch me map org structures onto a ship's department. This is the Navy in me.
Okay. Question 36. Which organizational structure helps increase employee creativity, productivity, and mutual accountability? A, teams. B, divisional. C, matrix. And D, departmental. Departmental and divisional are kind of the same thing. They're different. Even teams. Those are just different terms of breaking up different groups of people.
Okay. An info system question. Match the symptom to the system. Okay.
All right, let's jump to later questions in this exam. All right, question 70. All right, workers at a company are struggling to efficiently address daily problems because the company's current information system does not communicate across departments. What type of system should the company implement to solve this problem? A, deep learning system. B, integrated software system. C, management information system. Or D, enterprise resource planning system. Ooh, we got an interesting question. All right, so the primary problem is the company is not communicating across departments. Deep learning is a kind of algorithmic programming process that allows machines and code and databases to extract and kind of efficiently learn. But it's an internal system. So like right now I'm working with ChatGPT, that's a deep learning system, right? There's data sets that were trained into this model to create this particular system for useful outputs, okay? This company doesn't have that problem. They have a communication link problem, so they need some kind of communication software.
Centralized decision making is at the top. Reason the trade-off.
All right, question 38. A multinational corporation, MNC, with headquarters in the United States is seeking to limit its supply chain to U.S. companies so that decision-making authority is localized at the highest level of the organization. What is a result of using this decision-making structure? So a multinational corporation with headquarters seeking to limit its supply chain is localized at the highest level with A, economies of scope are decreased. B, there is increased consistency in operations. C, there is increased perception of fairness with suppliers. And D, economies of scale are achieved.
Waste drops dramatically. One term.
Question 52. A computer technology company has several factories in 3 countries. The headquarters introduces steps in the manufacturing process so that waste decreases dramatically. Which supply chain practice is this company using to optimize production efficiency? For some reason, I love to read these super fast and have to go over it. A, just-in-time. B, channel spanning performance measures. C, defining logistics networks. And D, lean manufacturing. Okay, so without going over the context of the question, because I need to make sure I encode everything, so when the questions that are very similar to these come up but are related to other things, I need to understand what we're talking about. Because there's no math principles, so I have to kind of make sure I can parse and understand the rest of the terminologies in case I get other styles of question that are reverse correlated to this kind of question set. So just-in-time is referred to kind of the just-in-time manufacturing method. I can't remember when this was made, but this was like kind of
Polycentric HR, parse the word, then find the disadvantage.
Resources policies are determined by how a particular global company decides to oversee its diverse workforce. What is a disadvantage of using this polycentric approach? A, staff members need an adjustment adjustment period to a new culture. B, it is possible there are dual demands for shared resources. C, there are less flexibility in adjusting to changing local conditions. And D, decisions are made by the home office in the top-down approach. Ooh, a lot of different things to think through. What is a disadvantage of using this polycentric approach? So, human resources policies are determined by how a particular global company decides to oversee its diverse workforce. Determined by
Okay. Moving on to market entry, distribution, and modern tech. Move 5, strip to one defining feature. Okay. Last family, definition matching questions. Okay. Market entry, distribution, tech buzzwords, strip the scenario to its one defining feature and match it. Okay. Market entry. Another honest correction. Live, I leaned towards exporting, but reread the defining feature. Builds its own assets. Takes all the risk. This is a greenfield venture.
And simplify it. Question 43. As a company enters a foreign market, it provides assets, takes on all the responsibility, and assumes significant risks. What is this market entry strategy? A, joint venture. B, exporting. C, greenfield venture. And D, franchising. All right, so let's work over each bit. A company enters a foreign market.
Okay. And then you have intermediaries in distribution. What is the actual advantage? I use my eBay shipping to reason this one.
Question 55. What is an advantage of using intermediaries in an indirect distribution channel? A, it maintains the company's interests at the forefront. B, it reduces upfront costs with the use of an existing channel. C, it displays a sense of ownership of the products. And D, it controls the marketing efforts. Let's see. All right, let's look at the question. Very simple. Advantage of using intermediaries in an indirect distribution channel. So indirect distribution channel for like logistics terms would be like instead of going from point A warehouse to point B house, it may go to point A to point C, D, E before going to B. What is the advantage of that? Well, in a logistics chain, typically, like let's say I ship something out, I sell on eBay, and I need to ship something to a customer. Okay, so it's not going to go direct.
Okay. Which accounting method? And watch me catch my own mistake here. Which is the lesson? Read the full context.
All right, question 59. A manufacturing company in the United States acquired a small national supplier based in California. Which accounting method should the company use to record the acquisition? A. International Finance Reporting Standards. B. Generally accepted accounting principles. C. Generally international accounting principles. And D. Financial accounting reporting standards. I would say C makes the most sense, but also B has the same thing. It's kind of the same thing, but D is a little bit more specific because it just interties the term international. But the company should be working its own generally accepted accounting principles. That's like kind of like the foundation of this whole context.
Okay. Then you have secure, global, decentralized data storage. One buzzword fits.
Or frameworks. Question 67. Company is interested in working with the technology that will allow consumers to privately and securely store personal information such as social security and credit card numbers, making it accessible around the world. Which piece of technology is of interest to this company? Well, just based off of what I just read, a standard kind of secure database structure would work just fine, but I don't think they're going to go that way in this kind of class. So A is blockchain, B is artificial intelligence, C is virtual reality, and D is antivirus software. So I'm laughing right now. All right. Which piece of technology is of interest to this company? All right. So just out of those options to what their end goal is, artificial intelligence would be out, because the nature of how it's currently built. AI protocols and infrastructures are built on like massive GPU hardware and like pre-trained, like learned algorithm.
And the modern tech era question. Place it in time.
Question 68. An international business experienced significant changes due to advances in global technology such as autonomous cars, 3D printing, biometrics, nanotechnology, and quantum computing. Which era caused this impact on business? Okay. So you have A, market revolution, B, technology revolution, C, second industrial revolution, and fourth industrial revolution. Okay. So those I would say C and D are out. Okay. Second and fourth.
This is the whole test in one idea. D080 is not a memory test, it's a reasoning test. Every question is one of those 5 moves. Model it like math, parse the words, follow the incentive, anchor it to something real, or strip it to its one defining feature. Think that way, and you do not need to memorize 100 answers. Honestly, none of this is really about D080. It's about how you think. Model it like math, parse the words, follow the incentive, anchor it to something you already know, and strip it down to the one thing that decides the answer. That works on my test in any subject. That is the part worth keeping. I got through this degree in the cracks of day. As a vet, a dad, with AI as my study partner. If this reasoning helps anyone walk into an assessment a little bit calmer, it was worth making. If it helps you, drop a comment and let me know how it goes. That's it. Thanks, guys.